I'm interested in what you've seen in terms of the impact of states and cities raising the minimum wage. Some of them vary significantly from the federal minimum wage. Walmart obviously has referenced higher employee costs as they raise wages across the board, taking a bit off earnings per share. What are you seeing?
We think it's important, first and foremost, to invest in our associates. We said we were going to do that. We're committed to it. We think it's the right thing to do. And so we've done that this year, and we'll take another increase next year in our wages. There are states that are escalating. I think the next phase of it, though, Poppy, is to make sure that we're getting the workforce developed, because the wages are increasing, and we want that talent to move up along with it.
So what does that take?
You know, first of all, it takes two things. One, we would love for K through 12 programs to deliver a better product. That has to happen. We can't replace that. But then we are looking at what we can do for career pathways, and what does it mean when you join a company like Walmart? Can we develop and train you into our leadership? We pride ourselves that 75% of our leadership started off as cashiers and cart pushers. We won't change that. So we've got to develop folks, and we also have to make sure that they're paid effectively.
You said you're going to see another increase next year. To what? Do we know those numbers yet?
No, we don't know exactly. We've made some commitments, and we're going to stick to those. I will tell you that just retail math is important for us to develop in our associates, helping them to understand the automation that's happening inside our buildings. You know, our cash registers are getting a lot more technical. The use of devices. If your members and customers are using devices, your workforce has to use that as well. So any training and development we can do to help them bridge what they're not getting outside of our company, we'd like to do that.
So there are many different numbers being thrown out there. The president has called for $10.10 an hour as a minimum. In the fast food space, there's the fight for 15. As you sit in the corner office, and this is a big part of obviously your, I know it is, of how you're thinking about your business, where do you fall on that? What's the right number?
Yeah, so we haven't put our finger on a number. I'll be real honest with you. We haven't put our finger on a number, but what we have said is that we're going to keep looking at this thing. We're going to evaluate to make sure that we've got fair pay for the work that our associates are doing for us. So we didn't actually put a number on it, but we're looking at that. We constantly will look at fair and equitable pay for our associates.
When you look at paid family leave, I just did an interview with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and she's been a huge advocate of this. She wants the government to do it through a payroll tax that everyone pays into. Carly Fiorina, a former chief executive at HP and now running for the presidency as a Republican, says it should be up to companies, not to the government. I'm interested in Sam's Club policy on that and where you fall.
So, you know, our policy, we do have, you know, all of the paid leave processes that most companies have. I will tell you that in all of our discussions with our associates, our pay practices, their time off, you know, we do a fine job of that. I mean, it's not, there's vacation paid leave. So, you know, we're looking at, you know, how do we align the work with the associates, get their pay structure correct, and make sure that they're validated from their time off process. So we actually haven't put, you know, a strong thinking around that, but I will tell you that we think about that as we think about what's the next phase. What is it going to cost for us to employ the next phase of associates? Because
more and more companies are saying, I mean, some of the tech companies, 4 months, paid leave, parental leave.
We'll consistently look at it. Right now, I will tell you that that is not something that our associates give us feedback on, that they, you know, are not, you know, feel like we're not in the right competitive space there.
And I guess also what I'm very interested in is it the government's role? Do you want the government to come in and say, this is what you got to do, or do you think it's incumbent on companies to figure it out?
You know, I do think it's incumbent upon companies to figure it out. I'm not quite sure it works real well when the government steps in, because they don't live it every day like we do. We are the closest representation for our associates. We should know, we should take the action, and we should set the policy.
You are a rarity in the corner office in America, and it is something that so many people want to see change. Not only are you a female CEO, you're a minority CEO. Where do you fall on who has to make the change and how it is going to happen so that there are more women like you represented in the top echelons of corporate America?
Right. So I totally agree with you, but it starts with the top of many companies. It has to start with top leadership. I can tell you that even with myself, I have to live it also. My executive team is very diverse, and I make that a priority. I demand it of my team and within the structure. And then every now and then you have to nudge your partners and you have to speak up and speak out. And I try to use my platform for that, to remind people. I try to set an example. I mentor many women inside my company and outside the company because I think it's important.
And in hiring, do you demand it when you're hiring for the top spots?
Absolutely. And not only that is I talk to my suppliers about it. Just today we met with a supplier and the entire other side of the table was all Caucasian male. That was interesting.
What did you say?
Interesting. Well, I decided not to talk about it directly with his folks in the room because there were actually no female levels down. So I'm going to place a call to him.